You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, the #1 resource for growing your function musician business. If you're a solo wedding singer, part of a 12-piece luxury show band, or anything in between, and want to learn from other successful musicians, you're in the right place.
You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 4. If this is your first time listening, then welcome. This podcast is all about helping you grow and manage your function musician business. Each week, I sit down with an amazing guest and we discuss what's worked for them, what hasn't, and the valuable lessons that they've learned along the way. And together, we'll explore how to build a successful business without burning out in the process. So just a quick update before we get into today's episode. Update on karaoke. If you missed episode 1, where I explained that I recently got asked by a friend's band to sort of take on a management role to help get this band off the ground. And I thought it would be cool to go through that journey on here after taking loads of the advice that we talk about on this podcast and seeing where it gets to. So this is just a little update on what we've done so far. So yesterday we filmed the show reel, which was great fun. Coming up with the idea for promo for a karaoke band was quite tough though, as it's not as simple as just a regular function band, as they obviously don't have a singer. Firstly, I think the ideal solution would be to have live footage from weddings, which is our target market, and I think that's what's going to sell this band the most, but we're just starting out, so we don't have any weddings booked. So the trouble with a traditional studio style promo video is that we don't have a singer, and we don't want people to think that whoever we get in to do the vocals is the singer. So we found 4 singers, 2 guys, 2 girls, and we basically did a version of each song. We did 3 songs, which I think is a good amount to get started with, and I recorded all the music about a month ago and recorded the vocals live yesterday while the band mimed. And so we filmed a version of each song with all 4 of the singers, and then all 3 of the singers, and then all 2 of the singers, and then each individually as well. And then when I edit it, I'm going to be switching out all different versions, and hopefully that will give an impression of people getting up and doing karaoke. All the singers were incredible and had an amazing energy, but that's the idea anyways, and we'll see how it comes together. And we also did some promo photos, and I'll be basically putting together an EPK that I can send out to agencies, and that's the plan to get us started. And then hopefully once we've got a few weddings in the bag, and we can start pushing our social media more and getting our own bookings in as well. So yeah, that's the starting plan. It also got me thinking about putting together a guide that helps you create a professional EPK, because I get asked that quite a lot actually. So it will be about what to include in it and how to use it, and I'll be putting that together soon, and which I'll share on here, and you'll be able to download for free. So yeah, that's just a little update for you for now. I'll give you another one once I've edited everything together and put the press kit together. So yeah, let's get into the episode. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Johnny Fiacconi. You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, and on today's episode, I'm super excited to be joined by Johnny Fiacconi. Johnny is a professional drummer, but you might already know him from social media, where he shares a ton of great advice on music business, band improvement, personal growth, and loads more. Johnny, welcome to the podcast, man.
Jack, thanks for having me. It's an honor. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this one. So I first came across you fairly recently, actually. I actually saw someone ask a question on a Facebook group. I don't know if you know Cover Band Central. And they basically said, like, who's that guy that sits in his car drinking coffee, gives out loads of great advice? And I was like, that sounds like somebody I'd be interested to check it out. So, and someone had put your name, and so I found your profile. And then, yeah, instantly started watching your content and was hooked and thought I definitely need to have you on the podcast.
Wow.
But I have one big question to start with, and that is, what is your coffee order?
You know what's crazy? Today I got something different. I broke the cycle. I got Starbucks. It's not my favorite, but I got it. I just go to McDonald's. I get a medium coffee, 1 cream, 1 sugar. At this point, they know me there because I go every morning, but they don't know that I'm doing videos in the car. I'm just some regular at this point, you know.
Yeah, awesome, man. I was gonna assume that you'd be a flat white person, but
yeah, I got the 1 in 1.
So just to kick things off, could you maybe give us a little intro on yourself for the people that don't know who you are?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm Johnny. You know, I've been playing drums since I was about 12 years old. I've been playing in bands, you know, pretty much since I started playing drums. I was jamming with my brother and then, you know, did the high school band thing. And then bands were always a constant in my life. You know, even while I was in school, I went to university, I was in a band. And then after that, I did a 1-year program in entertainment business management. And all that while I was in my band now, the Dreamboat. So I was using all of that knowledge for that band. And then as soon as I was finished that, I auditioned for another band and we hit the road like immediately. We went on tour, which I wasn't expecting. So bands have always just been a constant in my life. And that's the very short version. You know, I just love music. I've played bass in a band for about 4 years. You know, so I play multi-instruments, but I love the drums. I sing, and you know, I'm just consumed by the business side of it in many ways, which is why I'm so down for being on this podcast. You know, because there's so much more to just playing music. There's a lot that has to come together in order to just play music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the Dreamboats there. That's your main band, your only band?
Yes.
Or are you in a few at the minute?
My only band. Yeah, that's all we do. We don't really gig with anyone else while we're down here. We moved the band to California. Coming on 4 years. That sounds crazy, but we're originally from Toronto, Canada. And we all live here, 4 of us together. You know, the 3 of us plus our videographer. And then we have an LA guitar player. But yeah, we're all in the house, the band house here. And you know.
Yeah, that's as we were speaking a little bit before, but yeah, that sounds intense, but also super productive, and also a videographer in the house as well. That's interesting. Like, so they just come on tour with you and get loads of videos, I assume. Like,
yes, every gig, but his role is kind of, you know, developed into he's essentially like the 5th member of the band. Really, you know, he's at all the gigs, he's filming, he's taking pictures, he's helping us with gear, he's going to the front of house and like telling them how to dial us in, what we like. So his role, he came down as that, but it's just expanded to so much more. It's, you know, like our crew or our friend from the hometown. So it's great. You know, it's great having someone like that on the team.
Yeah, I've not heard of anyone having like a full-time videographer, photographer on board before, but I guess the point of that, right, is that content is so important for you, and that's the role that he's got, right?
Yeah, and now initially he had come down because we had this idea to document the whole thing, doing like this weekly series. It turned into like a monthly series, but they're half-hour episodes where he was filming everything, all the trials and tribulations. And it's actually online. It's called Keep It Dreamy. And so I did the first season myself. They were half-hour episodes. We were documenting, just driving down here, all of the things we were going through, talking to the camera. Then he came down and the production just got nuts. But, you know, that was 3 years ago at this point. And like I said, his role has really evolved into different things. But that was the initial reason, was to document what we were doing, filming everything at all times. So it was cool. I'm glad we have that. And we may reboot that series at some point.
Yeah. So, I mean, did that kind of help you start strong and start getting gigs early on with just having all that content and things like that?
Not necessarily, no, you know, because in Canada, we've been doing a lot of performing arts centers and theaters, and then COVID hit and then we weren't. And then it was right after COVID where we moved to California. We've been thinking about it for a while, but when we moved down here, like, you have to understand, we were doing these performing arts centers. We got off an East Coast Canada tour. Then we came down here. We only had 4 gigs booked, moved our whole lives down here. And we were like busking and like playing bars again. So it was a very humbling experience, especially at the time. We were in our mid-30s, you know. It was tough going from playing to like soft seat theaters to like bars, but there was something cool about it. But it's like we were starting fresh, but we had the foundation of a successful band. It was just we were starting, you know, from scratch in many ways in an oversaturated market. But it was the move. We felt like it was the move. This is where the opportunity is, at least in North America. You know, California, that's entertainment, it's music, it's Silicon Valley, it's tech, it's everything out here. Very influential people here, and I'm glad we made that move. But it wasn't easy coming here. Like, we were literally, you know, had 4 gigs and had to make it work.
Yeah, that's some real pressure on that move, right?
It was. Have you, Jack? You're in London? Have you ever had to do a move or anything like that?
No. Yeah, so nothing scary like that. England's so small,
great.
anyways. Like, it's even if you did, you're still like an hour away from everything. Like,
sure, that's great. London's where it's at. I would say that's like the place. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, there's other up and coming places now in the north, so like Manchester and places like that, and Bristol to the west. But yeah, England's such a small place that it really kind of counts as like a state for you guys.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
You mentioned their like oversaturated market and whatnot, but you guys, just for again anyone who doesn't know, you guys do like 40s, 50s. Rock and roll kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, more like 50s, 60s. Not quite 40s, but more like, that mid 50s to mid 60s rock and roll. That's what we do. So very niche, but I think I know where you might be going with this about the oversaturated market is that, moving to California, you would actually be surprised at how many bands are doing the retro thing out here. There's a whole scene in LA. Like there's people doing the rockabilly scene. There's the soul kind of thing. There's like the East LA, like Chicano, like soul R&B scene. And everyone's like dressing retro and they're doing lowriders. It's like a whole thing. Yeah. So it's not like we totally have the market cornered, but I would say being out in Palm Springs, which is where we live, 2 hours out in the desert. What's cool about here is that the whole town is mid-century art and architecture. So that's 50s and 60s art and architecture everywhere. The Rat Pack, like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, they all lived here. They had houses. Elvis had a house here. So this was like the resort area for all of the entertainers from the era that we do. So we felt like it would be a good place to be here and become kind of synonymous because our music matches the aesthetic of the whole town. It's a very visual town. A lot of people take pride in that. So that's why we're here, but we're playing in LA all the time. And I think still, I know you've talked about this and other bands and people you've had on the podcast, but the importance of having like a niche in your band. And it's crazy because even having a niche, it's like you could even dig deeper and get like ultra niche because even now everyone's doing the niche, it's like, but how do you separate yourself from those other people? I think we have a show that no one else has. We're getting nuts on stage, so that's our thing. And we're doing like top 40, but of 50s and 60s music, which not a lot of people do our age, so I feel like that's how we've been able to cut through all of the noise out here in California and kind of corner the market a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Obviously I haven't managed to see you guys but I've seen some of the videos that you've got online and it looks like an incredible show, like super energetic, loads going on. Like you said, jumping around on stage, like it looks like a great show. So I'm not surprised like that you've built up such a reputation or whatnot. So I'm assuming like you've kind of moved out of the bar scene in that area now as well and back into like theaters and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. So we've been doing, we've been doing conferences out here, which have been, well, not even out here. We flew to New York. We did APAP. That's like a great one. We're doing one next week, Western Arts Alliance. So we've been doing these conferences, and because we have such a well-oiled machine, we're new to the market, but it's like we have something that has a bit of a track record, and we now work with an agent, which we've been doing it all ourselves. And this agent has really been getting us into the performing arts centers and theater markets around the U.S. in general. So a lot of fly-ins, and it's been great. But we've been going through that phase again where we've now had to, we've outgrown some of the gigs here. And it was like, we went through this in Canada where we outgrew the bars and then we outgrew the city events. And you got to tell people like, we can't do it. And we're going through that again. It's like, we're having this like second puberty of the band, you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't think we'd have to like go through that again. And it's like people reaching out to us for certain events. And I'm like, we can't do it. We're doing theaters now and it just doesn't look good. And there's perception and there's things like that. And they can't hit the same numbers. You could do one city or you could do 4 or 5 city gigs and just do one theater show. And, it's the same, or corporate events. I know you're doing the function musician, corporate events pay really well. And especially in California, there's a lot of money to be made with that. And so, yeah, we're doing a long-winded way of saying we're doing theaters, performing arts centers. However, locally, we're still doing some of the city events and a lot of private corporate events too.
Yeah, great. So where do you go from there then? What's the next step? Level up. So I assume you guys are constantly pushing and things to level up. Like
Totally. Well, that's the thing I talk about, is having the goals. My goal right now for the band is to be, now that we're getting into performing arts centers and theaters right now in the US, we're doing kind of secondary markets, so we're doing maybe the 300 to 700 seaters, although we did do a 1,300 and it was almost sold out. We had 1,301 tickets. It was a lot of people. That was in Utah, you know what I mean? So it's an easy sell. I want to be now going from the secondary markets to eventually going to the main markets. So instead of playing, the outside cities, it's like I want to be playing Denver as opposed to like the city surrounding Denver, or playing New York City as opposed to the surrounding city. So that would be the next goal. And I really see us kind of playing the bigger theaters, just growing, doing the 2,000-3,000 seat theaters, being the band that people think of when they think of 50s and 60s rock and roll bands that are keeping it alive. I want them to think the Dreamboats. That's the long-term vision. And then taking that to different continents. I really want to bring it to the UK. What's the scene? What's the performing arts center scene like in the UK? Do you have any
theater shows? I think are doing really well at the minute. A lot of tribute shows are doing really well for theaters, as well as sort of like homage shows, not specifically tributes, but like homages to 50s and 60s and stuff like that. So yeah, theater shows and big clubs are doing well for that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm sure you could book something here, man, 100%. So have you guys been across the pond or anywhere else apart from the US?
Yes.
Canada at the minute?
Yeah, the Dreamboats, we've toured in Europe twice, but that was in 2015 and 2017. Actually, one of the most memorable show of my life. I know we were maybe going to talk, but it was actually in Liverpool. We played the Cavern Club. Like, I'm the biggest Beatles fan, and it was a dream of ours to be like, we got to take this band to Liverpool. So we played at the Cavern Club, the front stage, the back stage. I know it's changed or whatever, but just being in that presence was just an absolute dream come true. So yeah, we have been to the UK.
Nice.
But Europe is great too. I love it. Germany, Belgium, Holland, Spain, played all over. So it's great. And I think it's so cool that you guys in England can easily access like Europe for fairly cheap.
That's the best thing about living in England, is that you can access the rest of Europe 100%.
Yeah, and you can access it like on like vehicle. Like you can take the tunnel there, and like you can go anywhere you want. You can technically drive there.
Yeah. This is completely off topic, but there's a guy on social media at the minute I'm following who is walking from the UK to Vietnam. So he's walked all the way through Europe. He's in like Georgia at the minute or something like that. Anyway, it's completely, but so you can get around.
Yeah. I'm following a guy who's biking right now across. He's going to like somewhere, and it's unreal. Yeah.
So, I mean, let's talk about social media a little bit then, because obviously you've got a pretty hefty following, and I would love to know like what started that, and like how it kind of grew from I guess nothing, but.
Sure. I mean, I started this channel in January, and I'm a big Gary Vee follower. Are you familiar with Gary Vee? Yeah, I'm a big Gary Vee follower for years. And I like talking. I used to do public speaking back in the day. I really like talking, and I always wanted to start a channel. And, you're kind of mulling it over, and I was busy moving the band down here, but I was like, I got to just start, and I got to start with something that I can naturally just talk about daily, because I knew I wanted to post daily, whatever it was going to be, and I wanted it to be sustainable. And I'm like, well, we're talking about music all the time. I'm always, friends are calling me, asking me for, advice, or what do you think? And we're always sitting at the band kitchen table just discussing, like, oh, what do you think? Yeah, bands that do this, that's so weird. So we're always just kind of pondering these things. And I was like, okay, that's it. Like, it was right in front of me the whole time. And I genuinely like talking about this stuff. I'm fascinated by business, the business side of music. And, just doing it in my car and having the little hook, the coffee cup, the slurp. It was like, that was from Bacon Bits. He's got the cigar. And he made a video saying you need a little hook. So I was just in the car, and I happened to have a coffee, and I just went, I'm like, okay, that's the thing. Now let's just talk. And I chopped it up and I got quicker at it. I got better. And, but the consistency was key. I told myself I would do a video every day, and I haven't missed one yet. You know, some days I'll have to bank videos, but I've really noticed that the consistency is key. It's like in anything. It's like working out. It's like working towards any goal. The consistency is so key because it forces you to learn and adapt as you go. And if you're really intentional and you do want to grow something, then you'll see little micro things that you can tighten up. And I've really found that consistency is key. But I mean, you're doing stuff. You're doing podcasts. Like, how have you found things? Like,
it's hard. It's difficult. Yeah, I started this with the intention of doing one episode a week for a year, and I got like 30 something episodes in. I was like, I'm out of guests. I'm out of time. Like, I'm struggling. So I was like, cool. I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna come back doing it in seasons now, and that's so much more manageable for me.
Nice.
I think it's difficult. It's difficult.
It is, Jack. I think the key is it's a couple things. It's the consistency. It has to be sustainable, though. I think so many people like get on social media and really try to make it this elaborate thing. And we were guilty too. You know, we're trying to do all these big elaborate things. And I'm like, you know, you got to figure out a way to get the most things out as quickly as possible. You know, obviously you can take time on certain things like recording an album or something, but like day to day, like being top of mind, you have to figure out something sustainable. So for you, it's like you're doing it in seasons, you're recording batches of stuff. You know, you found that carving out the time once a week is tough, you know, and I'm starting to get there too. I'm doing interviews. I have like 6 or 7 videos banked at all times. So it's just like I'm realizing I can't dedicate every single morning, especially when we go on tour. You know, it's tough. So you have to adapt. But I think the fact that you've been doing this for so long is like much respect, because I know how tough it is. I'm still pretty new to this. I'm only, you know, not even a year, and it's tough making anything like this possible. And you hit these little plateaus, like you said, you hit these little areas where you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this again? You know, and you got to have your North Star, you know, and then you get fired up about it again, and then something will happen, an opportunity. You're like, oh yes, we're back. You know, it's such a whirlwind, a roller coaster.
I know those feelings well. Yeah. So I mean, that was good. I mean, I think you answered a couple of my questions there. But so you posted 7 days a week, but do you batch stuff, or do you literally do one a day, but then keep yourself with a little bank to go in case, I don't know, things come up?
Yeah, I would say 90% of the videos are shot every day. Like like today I didn't because I was doing this, but I knew in advance. Like I had it planned, and I'm releasing some interview footage that I did. But for the most part, I'm going every day. I mean, I still got a coffee today. I drive. That's kind of my Zen time. I have this whole little morning schedule, and my day kind of starts at 10:30, but I'm up like around 8, and you know that whole thing. I go for a run. I got this planner here. I got a daily planner that I've been using for years, and that's been like a game changer. I don't know. Do you use any kind of planners or anything like that?
I wish I was that organized. Apart from a Google Calendar, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
that's cool.
Not that organized.
That's cool. You know, it's intense. The one I use is called the High Performance Planner. I've talked about it on my channel, and it's just great. It's like a daily thing, and it asks you questions. It takes about 10 minutes a day, but I realize it's been so helpful for me to be able to do this, to plan out ahead. I'm like, oh yeah, I got a gig tomorrow. Oh, we got to be on the road by 10. I'm like, oh, how am I going to film my video? I'm like, I guess I got to do 2 today. You know, so it's really like made me plan things, and I don't think I could have been posting daily without this planner. Or Google Calendar, however you want to do it.
Is that like a physical calendar or like an app?
It's right here. It's open. I have it open at all times during the day until 4:30. Then I close. I shut it down. But yeah, it's great. I fill this thing out, and it's been awesome. It's been very, very helpful for me. Getting things done.
Yeah. And how do you come up with your ideas as well? Like, do you have like a bank of like ideas and things that you've like little notes and things you want to talk about, or just kind of see what comes?
It's a few things. It's like, and that's why I get what you're saying. You're like, oh, I ran out of guests. It's like, yeah, I thought I could talk for days, and I can, but it'll just be different things. I've got a notepad on my iPhone, so if an idea comes up or someone's talking to me or we're at a gig, I'll jot stuff down. So I have a bunch of ideas. Sometimes I just get in there and I'm feeling inspired to do a rant, and then other times, if I can't do it, I'll be on ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, I need to come up with some ideas, and at this point it kind of knows what I've been talking about, because I'll be like, oh, let's brainstorm. I'll be like, give me 50 ideas, and then it'll just spew some out, and then I'll just be like, oh, perfect, I could talk about that, and then I'll talk about it. So that's at like a worst case scenario. I'll get some brainstorm ideas, but it's a combination of everything. But it's work, like it's work to do that, and then to edit it. I remember it used to take me like 45 minutes to edit a video on CapCut, and then I realized, oh, I can do it like this. So now I've got it down to like about 12 minutes of video, and I film it, I edit it, and then I post it all in like 1 hour while I'm having my coffee, So that's where it is currently.
Yeah, that's the practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Acoustic Backs And Tracks, your go-to source for premium acoustic back and tracks that sound and feel like the real deal. Whether you're performing at weddings, recording content, or just practicing at home, it's like having a professional band right there with you. Their tracks are recorded by top session musicians with real instruments and real emotion. No lifeless MIDI here. Need something custom? They've got you covered. From key changes to mashups to exclusive tracks made just for you. Plus, their customer support is fast, friendly, and actually understands musicians. No task is too big for them. And here's the best part. Listeners of the Full-Time Function Musician podcast get 10% off their first order. Just head to acousticbacksandtracks.com and use the code FUNCTION10 at checkout. That's function, all in capitals and 10 at the end, but you can find their website link and the code in the episode description. I've been going through a lot of your content over the last couple of days, just kind of like for research and preparing and stuff like that. And one video that really kind of stuck out to me was one where you said, stop blaming bands that play for free. That one, really struck a chord with me, because I see so much online, mostly Facebook, to be honest, I guess. But about people just complaining that they're getting undercut and that everything's too saturated. So I don't know if you remember exactly what you said, but I'd love to talk about that a little bit more.
I'm trying to remember. So it was the book, Extreme Ownership, that really changed how I viewed all of that. It's by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. It's like they're former Navy SEALs. And aside from them, even Gary Vee talks about it, but it was like the best thing that has happened to me. Aside from getting in shape, that was like number one. That was when I got down here. But aside from that was like telling myself I'm not going to blame anyone for anything. I'm going to take full accountability. It's been like such a weight off my shoulders when you stop blaming other people. And I wish it's like a gift. And after reading that book, Extreme Ownership, how they're in the heat of battle, and it's like, you have to take accountability. If you are in charge, it's on you. It doesn't matter if someone else did something wrong. It's like you should have prepared them to not do that thing wrong. It's like every step of the way you are to blame. You can really feel like you are in control of everything and that the world isn't out to get you. And you're right. I think a lot of artists are quick to be like, oh, we just need a manager, and like, or our managers. And we used to say that too. We've worked with managers, with people on the team. Booking agents is like, what are they doing? They're just taking a percentage of the gigs we're booking. What are they bringing to the table? And it's like, well, we shouldn't work with them. It's a learning process, or, it's just easy to get down on yourself in the music business. And there's a lot of people who just aren't on a certain level, who don't deliver. And it's on you to weed those people out. It's on you to decide if, that you're working with someone. You made the decision, So I really feel like that has been a huge game changer for me, is just not blaming anyone. Even at a gig, it's like you go there and the sound is bad. It's like, well, maybe we should be rolling with someone who's helping them out, telling them what sound we want, or maybe we need a better stage pod or something, you know what I mean? Or at the end of the day, that just is what it is, but it's on us to be professional enough to roll with the punches. You know what I mean? It's all on you.
You have to be like that, being self-employed, because it is all on you at the end of the day. Like, there's no one else that you can't go to, and then otherwise you just sit there like dwelling on things and like feeling sorry for yourself when you should just go out and like be proactive about changing whatever is the issue.
Totally. I hear so many people, they send me messages or I do live streams and they're saying all these things. Oh, my band, I'm the only one doing stuff. And I'm like, well, then it's up to you to, have the meeting and try and get people fired up. It's just, you can't leave other people to dictate where you're going to go or what pace you're operating at, but yeah, there's just a lot of excuses, I think, in the music business and with people in general.
Yeah. So I mean, with your content then, does that bring in any extra work? Does that because it must have I assume a lot of the content is getting consumed by other musicians and things like that, but
yeah,
that could lead to work, right? So has
Sure.
it helped in that way at all?
Sure. Well, I'm in a really interesting position because I'm technically Canadian. I'm down here on a visa and I'm only technically allowed to work for anything pertaining to the visa, which is performance based. So, there are a lot of people messaging me for consultation for different things. And I'm in a position where I can't monetize at all on this channel. Right. And so once again, it's like I could blame the visa or just my status, but to me, I'm just like, no, this is a great opportunity to just give as much as I can totally for free, which I would have done anyways, but you get tempted to try and monetize maybe too early. And I'm just like, this is great. I'm going to do live streams. I'm going to chat with people. I do voice messages to people and I'm just like, it's just all free. I don't care. I'm learning, and when I can do it, I'll do it maybe or maybe not, but it's on me right now. But yeah, there could be a lot of opportunities. Definitely. I know I could be doing consultations. I'll get a lot of DMs for that. I want to eventually get into public speaking. So I have a lot of ideas that I want to do. And as soon as you can amass a bit of a following, I'm starting to realize it's like when you do some kind of calls to action, it's really helpful. And I think a lot of musicians, especially, they have like their band, and sometimes their band maybe isn't taking off on social media, but it's like you could have yourself as a brand and really build like talking about things that you like. And then it's like a byproduct is your band. Like I see so many people follow my page, the Johnny Fiacconi page, and then I see that they're following the Dreamboats and my band, and then they're following my other channel. Like I would say like a decent chunk, end up following both. So it's like I think people are just always one track minded with their band. It's like, oh, that's it. But I'm like, I think we're in the era where you got to build your personal brand right now. People want to see like real and talking about what you're passionate about. I think that's the only way you can really connect, unless you're like some supermodel or you're a comedian or you're doing like skits. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's kind of where we're at. But yeah, a lot of stuff is coming out. I can't really act on it right now, if I'm being totally honest, due to legal reasons. But it's nuts, and that's the thing too, Jack, is like, I feel like a lot of musicians, I have a video in the pipeline here, but someone asked me, they're like, hey, I'm a piano teacher. Is this a good long-term like job? I'm just like, yeah, it could be a great long-term job if you want it to be. I'm like, you could just be like teaching lessons to kids locally, or it's like you could be online doing live streams, teaching people live, having a course. Imagine you gained I think people fail to realize, like, if you had like 100,000 followers and you said you were teaching lessons and even like 0.5% ended up doing it, that's 500 people. You know what I mean? And now if you're doing like something for $10 a month, what does that work out to? That's $5,000 like a month that you could be making doing like, you know what I mean? So it's so key to have the online following, but it has to be genuine. You can't be going for the big pitch, right off the hop. You got to build rapport and show that you actually care. And I genuinely care, so that's kind of where I'm at. You can definitely monetize online. And once again, it's an excuse. You could be the best piano teacher in the world. I truly believe that, if you take things online and you have big goals, someone is the top piano teacher in the world.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of your content, is that like it's it's simple in its form. It's just, you're just sat in a car and you're speaking to the camera, and it's authentic, and people love that kind of stuff. Like, I've also tried to do a little bit of like short form social media content videos as well, but I suck at speaking to the camera, for one. But then also I try and make it too good, I think, like with a nice camera, nice lighting, and stuff like that. And then it loses the authenticity, I think. So yeah, I think keeping it real basically is what works, and people get to know you better that way.
Well, there's that guy, Higher Up Wellness. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's an American guy. He's got glasses, and his videos are so raw. And on TikTok, he's got a few million followers. All of his videos get like minimum 30,000 views and more, just because I investigate him, like what's doing it. He has no subtitles, no title. It's just him talking to the camera in the most raw form. But he just talks very passionately about like just self-improvement, and it just resonates with people. And it just goes to show you that sometimes you don't need all of the fancy stuff. The fancy stuff is nice. It's like a cherry on top. But I think we're living in a world, especially where AI and things are so fake so often. I think it's really important to like get as raw and as real as possible. And that's tough to do. It's like we've been so trained that it's got to be pro. And there is a fine balance. You don't want to do a podcast and have it sound like of course, you know, there's quality control for sure, and you've got that. But yeah, when it comes to videos, it's tough to be raw and real, because and that's why the Gary Vee mentality is just, you got to talk about stuff that you're passionate about, because when you're passionate, you can easily talk about it, you know. And I think that's the only way it can be sustainable. Setting up the cameras all the time gets tough, and you burn out quickly. Burn out quickly.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, you've mentioned that you get asked a lot of questions from musicians and stuff. So what would you say is the question that you get asked the most, or what do you see musicians struggling with the most?
I get a lot of questions, but one that I get is usually someone coming to me and saying like, hey, I want to take my band far and the rest of the band doesn't. It's always that, or what do you do if you got a bass player who doesn't want to do gigs, or like, it's always kind of inner band turmoil. And my response to that is always like, you need to have a meeting. Like I feel like bands don't check in often enough, and we've been guilty too. It builds to a point, and I got to remind myself, I'm like, okay, we got to just sit down. Let's just hash this out. So to those people who are like, oh, I have band members who aren't on the same tip, I'm like, well, do they know what you want for the band? Do they know what level you want to take it at? I'm like, I tell people they got to get a band meeting going. They got to paint a vision of how they see the band. It's not the fault of everyone else. Once again, the blame is on you. If you are the visionary of the band and you are the one who sees past what you're just doing on a weekly basis, then it's on you to convince people to have the vision, to have the goals, and to lay it out on the line and see where everyone stands. From there, you can make a decision if you want to continue with those band members. That's really what it comes down to. So say what you want, and then maybe you might have like the drummer's like, hey, yeah, that would be great. I want that. Maybe the bass player's like, no, I just like playing on the weekends, you know, and that's all I need. I'm good. I got a job and stuff. And it's like, cool. At least you know, and you can then choose how you want to proceed. But if you don't know, there's going to be resentment that builds. As you know, if you played in bands, and it's like, if you don't communicate what you want, then you're assuming that other people want the same thing and they're just not trying, when that might not be the case, you know. So the band meetings are key. I think at least once a month would be nice. We don't do that, but we should. Mind you, we live together. But, you know, I think bands need to check in a lot more often. And that is my response to those people who have the inner band turmoil. Another thing, Jack, is that, you know, sometimes you have toxic band members, and I've dealt with stuff like that too, where people are just, you know, holding you down and you feel like it's sucking the life out of you. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes you got to have a hard conversation. And there's a mentor of our band who I told him about this, and I was just like, you know, it's tough. I don't know what to do. And I wanted to leave the band that I started, you know what I mean? And he was like, well, look, here's what you're telling me. He's like, you're willing to leave the band that you started, put so much work into, just because you don't want to have a hard conversation with someone. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's what it is. I didn't want to have that tough conversation. I was willing to leave the band because I didn't want to face this person or these people head on. And I think when you break it down like that, you're just like, yeah, you realize how often you do have to have these conversations with people and be honest and be real and make sure it's coming from a good place. If it's coming from a good place, it's hard for someone to build resentment towards you if you're expressing genuine like concern. You know, Jack, have you had to deal with stuff like that with like different band members over the years, or like it's tough?
So, I mean, yeah, definitely. I used to play in an originals band quite a few years ago now. So, yeah, there was. I mean, I think we got on. We got on worse than we got on well, if you know what I mean. But it was still good fun. But yeah, I mean, how does the dynamic work for you guys living in? Because that's living and working together, right?
Yeah,
that must be tough at times, and you must have to navigate that in like different ways.
Of course. I mean, we're Canadians, so we're pretty nice for the most part. We haven't killed each other yet. We do have, we butt heads from time to time, but I think for the most part, considering like counting our blessings, we're pretty good. But yeah, it's tough because it's like, when we were back in Toronto, it's like you have a gig, it's like, or you have a rehearsal, you're all just living in your own. You get to the gig, you play the gig. Hey guys, great gig. Okay, catch you at rehearsal. You go home, you deal with your problems, you unwind. But it's like here, it's like after a gig, we're driving 2 hours. We all get to the house. We're all in the kitchen doing the tango, moving around. Everyone's trying to get like a late night food, and we're just like, sometimes it's like that, but we've been, and this isn't a permanent thing, but the pros outweigh the cons. It's like we're all together working towards a common goal, which I'm so fortunate for, because that's all you could ask for in any kind of business, is that people are on the same tip, working towards something, and you can get things done quickly when you're all living together. But like I said, I'm 38. Did I think I would be living with other people, and when I was 38, that wasn't necessarily my plan, but the blessings outweigh, the cons in this case. I'm so fortunate. I wake up every day. There's not a cloud in the sky. There's one cloud. But palm trees, beautiful weather. Coming from Canada, you're in London, you deal with rain, we deal with snow. It's like I have to stop often to be like how fortunate I am. And I'm so glad that, we made this move, essentially.
Yeah, I imagine it is a beautiful part of the world. I've not visited any of LA before, but yeah, I would love to.
If you're ever down here, Jack, you got to reach out.
Absolutely, man, 100%.
I'll show you around.
So let's move on to some of your gig stories. So yeah, this part of the show is just to brag a little bit about some of the cool stuff you've done, or some funny things that have happened at weird shows or whatever. Yeah, man, what have you got for us?
Well, I mean, are we talking good shows or bad shows? Because there's equally both. Well, like I said, the best show for me was playing at the Cavern Club in Liverpool. As a 50s and 60s lover, I genuinely love the music that we play, and a Beatles fan, that was like an epic show for me that I will never forget. I mean, it's hard. We played so many great shows. Like I said, we just played in Utah. It was our first time playing in Utah, and there was 1,300 tickets sold. 1,301. The reason I know that is because after 1,300 tickets, we got a pay bonus. So that was great. The place was packed. That's like such a great feeling to go to a new place and not knowing what to expect and playing to a full, like they were there to see us. There was no other bands on the bill. You know what I mean? Like that was great. But at the same time, it's like, we've had a lot of bad gigs. We've had humbling gigs. We've had, like, I'm trying to think, like back in the day, maybe a gig I can talk about now, because you talk about function kind of gigs and private events, corporate events. But I remember with the old lineup, it was like every show we played, people would be like, you guys are great. You're the best band we've ever had. We would get booked again. And I remember we did a gig for Subaru, the car company. Mm-hmm. And we went in there like, so not cocky, just our normal selves. We're like, oh, we're going to kill it. And we went out there and, we had to get the dance floor going at this corporate event. As you know, that can be tricky. And the first set comes, it was a beach theme. So we did Beach Boys and stuff like that. The first set came and they were dancing for the first song, and then people just lost interest. They weren't vibing, you know. I feel like it was a weird theme for the event, and we were doing our thing, but it just didn't click. And I remember in between the sets, the CEO was there, like of Canada, and he was there. He's chatting. He's like, "Oh, nice." And I remember the booker from Subaru was kind of like, "Oh, I guess you guys just didn't get them." And I was like, it was just like a little comment like that, and that like totally rocked my world. I was just like, "Oh my god!" And then we went back to the second set. I had no confidence at all, just totally. But we needed that. You know, we needed someone to eat, and it was just such a little comment like that. But that, you know, having never heard that, everyone's like, "You guys are the best, you're the best." I'm like, okay, we needed that humbling. And the second set wasn't great. It wasn't great. And so that was like, you know, that wasn't the best gig, but it caused us to be like, guys, we need A-list songs. Every song needs to be a banger. You know, this can never happen again. You know, so that, you know, that was kind of from a corporate function world. And then, you know, just other events too. It was like, we played one this summer. I'm like, one we didn't even publicize or want to like talk about after the fact, but we went. It was supposed to be this 4th of July festival, the Independence Day, but it was on the 5th of July, the day after. And we showed up and there was no one there, you know, and I'm almost reluctant to share too much in case this person sees, but there was no one there. It was a big field. We were playing 2 hours straight. I'm talking, no one was there. And we still had to play. And, you know, you show up to the gig and it was supposed to start like half an hour ago and they're still doing a sound check. And my stomach drops. I'm just like, oh no, like this is not good. This is not going to be good. I never want to like be in that situation again, but you learn these things, you know, as you go. And then, you know, and then also just, you know, I've had some really weird experiences just being sick and having to play. I remember having like the flu, you know, before COVID. It's like you played when you were sick, you know, you still played. And, you know, I remember doing a gig out in Italy, in northern Italy with the previous band and just having the worst flu of my life. And I remember it was the kind of venue where, you know, the stage is here, the crowd is in front of you, like a club, like a rock club. I would say there's maybe like 200 people there, but it was full. And of course, the bathroom is on the other side of the crowd. There's no backstage. So it was like mid-set, I'm playing, and let's just say, I'll spare you the details, but stuff's coming out of all ends, okay? And it's just like, it hits me during the show. I'm like, I gotta get to a bathroom right now. And I'm just like, guys, I gotta leave. And I'm sweating. I just have the flu. And I had to literally hop off the stage and like part the seas and walk through the crowd. And they're just all like, where is this guy going? And then the bathroom's at the very end. It's a disgusting like bathroom. It didn't even lock. I'm just holding this door. And I hear the band, no one else plays drums. So they're just there. Someone sits on the drums. I hear, it's just a mess. And they're waiting for me. And I come back in like total shame, but you got to own it still. I'm just kind of like, all right, you know, I'm back. And, you know, I guess it happens. It happens. Have you had anything like of that nature?
No, not like that nature. No. Worst thing is probably just like falling off the side of the stage or something, but it was a minor stage anyways.
I've had many times I've had to leave the stage for different reasons, okay? Like it happens.
So I think you kind of touched on this already with your goals and stuff, but what kind of you've got planned for the rest of the year, for the band and for yourself?
The rest of the year, we're hitting up what we're doing now, these theaters and performing arts centers. But the key right now is we're fired up on doing these showcases. So these showcases, especially for tribute and cover acts, this is where you go and this is where the buyers come to find their talent. I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but here in the States, if you go to like a conference like APAP, it happens in Midtown Manhattan, right in New York. You have to pay to get on a showcase slot. It's like $1,500 for 15 minutes. And you, not only that, but your agent or yourself, you have to make sure that certain buyers are there watching you. But it's like you go there and people from theaters all over the United States are coming there to book their talent for their next season. They are there. Like that is the opportunity you want. And yeah, like going to a conference like that, like flying everyone out from California to New York, paying people, like getting hotels, like that costs us about 10 grand. But it's like we've been getting like gigs out of it at a much higher price point at theaters all over the States. Like we're traveling, we're in Connecticut, New Hampshire, we're doing Florida, we're doing Arizona, New Mexico, all from this conference that we did in January, so we're all fired up on the conferences and letting the word spread. That's the goal right now.
Yeah, it's a big investment and I guess it's not a sure thing. Like you have to kind of, I guess be prepared and believe in yourself and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to hear it's paid off. Yeah,
you really got to feel like you have a good band, a good product. I hate using that word, but it's like you got to be confident. You got to be at the point where you're like, I just wish people could see us. And then you're like, okay, well, the conference is the move. If you're if you believe in your band that much, it's like, well, you could technically put your money where your mouth is, pay for a showcase slot, and let the market dictate that if you really wanted to. That's what you're essentially doing, but worth it in our case.
It's good stuff, man. So just before we move on to the quick fire round, is there anything that you wish I'd asked you or anything else that you want to leave our audience with?
It's hard to say. Nothing really jumps out at me, but I think it was just really good you touching on the stuff about the excuses and just actually getting stuff done. A lot of people in the music business are all talk. And it's easy. It's great to dream big, but I think people need to really put the pen to the paper and put some deadlines in of things you want to do. Like the whole point of being in a band, at least for me, is like coming up with goals and something to look forward to. So many bands just exist, and it's nice to be like, hey guys, like let's do a European tour, or let's tour Spain, or like let's go to the States and do something in a year. Let's save up and let's plan that. It's like it's nice to have these little carrots dangling in front of you, and I think a lot of people forget that. And they're just existing from one gig to the next. And and then no wonder you lose steam and people just stop like responding quickly and stop getting fired up for gigs. It's like you got nothing to look forward to. You're just subsisting, and then you question like, why am I doing this? But I think it's really important to have goals that the whole band can get excited about. And it might be even just booking like a weekend away where we're going to play 3 shows somewhere. We might even lose money, but it's just getting out of town, getting out of Dodge, just hanging out and remembering why you liked it. I think that's like so important.
Yeah, 100%. I always find it's good to write those goals down as well. I like doing like quarterly goals, even sometimes like monthly goals or whatever. But definitely write them down. I think is a good thing as well.
Yes, and not only that, Jack. I'll say, like I told you, I have the book here. I'm not trying. I always feel weird when I talk about this book because I'm not trying to act like I'm better than anyone or virtue signaling. I feel like it's a duty to let people know what has worked for me. And at the beginning, so there's daily stuff in this book, but at the beginning of this book, it lasts for 3 months. So every 3 months, you got to rewrite your goals. There's 1 year goal and 3 year goals. And so I was doing that every 3 months. I'd have to write that down. But now for the entire year, I've been reading my goals daily, my 1 year and 3 year. And it's so mind boggling because it's like just the act of reading it daily. I feel like I'm just so aligned with those goals, like subconsciously. I'll read it the next day. I'll be like, oh, I like that thing yesterday. Like that's this one. You know what I mean? It's just, it's subconscious. So I would say like reading the goals daily, adding it to the routine, and it takes like 30 seconds. That has been a game changer for me. Like it really has been. It's like, I love this thing, This is my baby.
Do you find that then like changes your daily decisions and things that you kind of say yes to or no to because
100%
in your subconscious all the time?
100%. It's like you just know, like your receptors are up, and it's like if you had the goal of being like an actor and you're like, I gotta make it. Like, you might be sitting in a restaurant one day and the person next to you mentioned something about being a producer. It's like if you didn't have that goal of being an actor, it's like you would have been like, oh, that's cool. But if you wanted to be the actor, you're gonna be like, oh, I gotta do something right now, So it's like, if you don't have those things, like little seeds planted, if you haven't incepted yourself yet, it's important to do so, because you'll notice things that you wouldn't have otherwise noticed that are in line with your goals. And that's been a huge thing for me, is reading the goals daily.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great stuff, man.
Yeah.
So let's go on to our quick fire round.
Okay.
So I've got a few little questions for you, and I've actually got a bonus one that I haven't told you about yet as well, just for you. What is the most effective thing that you've done to market yourself or your band? We'll go with your business.
As we talked about, the most effective thing has been going to conferences. It blew my mind. I wish we had been doing this sooner, but festival conferences, city buyer conferences, theater conferences, they're conferences for everything. There's South by Southwest, like there's so many things. And if you really have a solid band, the conferences are what have been the best way that our band has been brought to the next level. Conferences, hands down.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we definitely have something similar here, and like, so a lot of the listeners for this are like wedding musicians and stuff like that. So the wedding showcases absolutely have them, but there's also, I know most people I think will probably know, but there's also showcases they do a lot of like holiday parks and big hotel chains and stuff like that have showcases to get on all of those. So yeah, definitely take a look into that if that's something that you want to do.
Buying. We had a manager that used to tell us that seeing is buying. People have to see you. So you got to put yourself, if you have a good band that's solid and a good show, you have to put yourself in a position where people who are the movers and shakers will see you. And I think you should do that at all costs.
Yeah. Imagine you've got the best product that is perfect for someone and they can't see it because you've not shown it to them. Like,
yes. Agreed.
Cool. So question 2, what have you learned in the last 3 months that you wish you knew 3 years ago?
What I've learned is the power of social media and the power of being real with other people and how much that can connect and build a community. I didn't, like, you hear about that stuff, but now actually doing it and being like, oh, like, I feel like I can help people. And I wish someone would have told me some of these things. And it's just like, you build that community, and it's just not only, I mean, selfishly, it's fulfilling, because I feel like, oh, I want people. I feel like there's room for everyone at the top. I want to be able to help, but just the power of like seeing how influential you can be and how much you can affect someone. And that extends to what I'm doing on this channel. That extends to music. Like, if you really have something good and powerful and a cool message, or just an interesting style of music that you play, it's like you can really connect with people. Like, the world is your stage right now. We live in such an incredible era where the world is your stage. And like, I didn't realize, you asked me 3 months. This is more like 6 months, to be honest. But prior to this year, it's like I didn't truly realize that until now. And I wish I did a little earlier. Like, imagine starting what I was doing 5 years ago. You could argue I wouldn't have been in the place to start that, though.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, so that all of the growth, has that come since January? Because that's wild.
Yeah, since January. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. I know.
Because you're, I mean, I've only sort of taken a look at your Instagram and stuff. I know you've got a bit of YouTube as well, and TikTok as well. Are they all kind of similar, or?
It's all the same. Now, on TikTok and YouTube, what's crazy is that the 2 years prior to me doing this channel, I was filming drum content, and some of my drum content got a lot of views. Like, I started getting into like drum bloopers, because I do so much during the show. I would be dropping sticks and throwing sticks and catching sticks. So like, some of those videos got like millions of views. And so on Instagram, I was like, oh, do I piggyback off that? And I was like, no, it's this brand new channel. So I started a brand new channel on TikTok, or on Instagram, starting from scratch. But on TikTok and YouTube, I'm using that same channel that I have my drum videos on. But yeah, even that was consistency. I was like, after every show, I'm going to post a video. And it was like, it took a year. I wasn't getting anything. And then all of a sudden I had a big blooper video that popped off, like millions of views on Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube Shorts. And then I just started doubling down on that, and it was like every video was getting tons of views. So it's like, it's so powerful that you can just be in a small town and you can get in front of people somewhere else in the world, and that is seeing is buying too. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you can really figure out what's working, be intentional with your videos, it's like you have the opportunity to get in front of the eyes of someone who can help you or who wants to work with you. That's something that I've really been open to in the last 3 to 6 months, for sure.
Yeah, that's where people get to sort of know you, like you, and trust you, and that's essentially where they then might book you for something. So what, nope, I've lost my question.
Jack, can I add one more thing there?
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing? It's just, when I started this channel, I remember being like, I want to do a lot of podcasts. And one of the first things I did, I had like only 100 followers on the channel. I started reaching out to all people. I was looking for podcasts. And I was like, oh, I want to go on these podcasts. And no one would get back to me. You know, I was in the DM like jail or whatever. I was in the the request file, I'm sure. And it's like, now I don't reach out to anyone, and people are reaching out to me. And it's like, that is such a testament to life, because I'm like, and I'm down because I wanted to do this all along. But it's like, you really just, it's crazy how you can flip the script, you know, if you really just keep true to it. It's like, it's tough, but you got to get to the point where people come to you. That goes with music. It's creating a demand for yourself in some way. And I'm still so early right now, but that's an interesting thing I've been thinking of recently. I'm like, oh, people are reaching out to me now. I'm like, oh,
beautifully put there. You're creating the demand. It's perfect.
Yeah. Anyways.
So next question. If you were just starting out now, what is the first thing that you do?
I feel like I would keep defaulting to the same thing about the showcase. Oh, no. But actually, sorry. If I were starting a cover band right now, I know exactly what I would do. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. If I were starting a cover band from scratch right now, here's exactly what I would do. I would start a cover band that was niche, very niche. I would take a niche that I already like maybe it's like psychedelic 60s, but then I would try to find something a little more even niche within that, okay? So whatever that might be. Then the first thing I would do is I would look around for venues in the area that typically have music on the weekends, and I would approach them saying, hey, can I take a Tuesday night or one of their dead nights? Be like, I'll play for free. I just want to take a night, a weekly residency. This is our band. We're going to promote it as like Psychedelic Tuesday, Psychedelic Sundays, let's call it, okay? We want Sunday nights. So from there, I would get them to agree, no skin off their back. I would make it really easy for them to say yes. Then I would promote it. So I would post like physical posters being like Psychedelic Sundays, live music from like 1968 to like 71 or whatever, free show. And I would make it free. The reason I'm saying this is because I did this with my band and it worked. And then I would just build that night as the place to be in town on Sundays. People would know, and it would draw people in who like that music. It might draw people in who don't like that music or didn't know they liked it, but it's just like, yo, this place is packed on Sundays. And then I really build that. And that would be such a great springboard because it would get the band tight. Sure, you're not making money, but you're going to get gigs out of it 100%. People will reach out for weddings or backyard parties that are ultra niche, and you start to build a following and you build clout and notoriety. Then from there, you can start branching off to playing on weekends. But that would be the first thing I would do. I would like get the band, obviously get the songs tight and whatnot, but assuming you have like 3 sets worth or like 2 60-minute sets, I would go for the residency immediately and just make that the place to be on an off night in any town. That would be the move. And then from there, it's like start getting into showcases as soon as you feel like confident enough. That would be the move in my opinion.
That's interesting because I mean, at the beginning, when you're either investing with time or with money, right, into any sort of business, and when you're at the start, you've got more time than you've got money. So playing for free is investing that time and hoping that it's going to lead to more work in the future. And then you move to the case when you're going to spend some money on investing in your business. Yeah, and the thing is, if you're really bringing like a huge night to this venue on a Sunday, it's like at some point they're going to want to pay you because you like. For you to not be there would like be detrimental to their business. Like you brought in so much business. So you're in a position of like asking for money at that point. If you even wanted to, you could do tips off the hop. But I would say if you were the band leader, even pitching to your band, the vision of that is like, look, instead of rehearsing, like obviously you rehearse
before, but once the songs are good, it's like, instead of rehearsing, we're going to do Sundays, we're going to play a show, it's going to be great. And what's cool about doing the niche thing is that it's easy to post ads online. It's easy for a poster because people could be like, oh, it's grunge Tuesdays, and it's just a picture of the whole band, you're all wearing flannel. It's like someone who likes Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains are going to be like, oh, sick, I'm going to go there. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's an easy sell for the right people. It's ultra niche. So you don't have to, you're laser focused on who you're trying to attract. You can do targeted ads for people who like Nirvana and like, you know, all of that, Soundgarden. It's just, the niche is key. And then just doing it on an off night means there's no competition. Making it free means it's easy for people to come out. And then putting on a great show means people will come back the next week and hopefully bring friends. And even dress up and get into the vibe. That's a whole other thing, you know?
Yeah, I love that, man. So next question, what is the biggest mistake that you've made and what did you learn from it?
It's weird because I know we were talking about this, and the thing is, I'm really of the mindset, like, mistakes, like I've booked weird gigs and things like that, but I find like the mistakes are, I'm always trying to learn from them. So as much as they suck in the moment, it's like nothing jumps out at me. Is like I'm really trying to think of what a big mistake would be. Like I said, I've booked bad gigs, but it's like I didn't know, you know, at the time. I'm always trying to do what's best for the band. So it's like if it was a mistake, it was genuinely, you know, not. I would say like not moving down to California sooner, but that's not really a mistake. Nothing jumps out at me, Jack. I had a hard time with that one, but it sounds like I'm acting like I'm perfect. I'm not. I make mistakes all the time, you know. But I think maybe taking the band seriously earlier on, I wish, because like the first 3-4 years, it was just a fun passion project. And I wish we had started, like someone sat me down like, hey, you got something really cool here. Like you should start taking this seriously. All the things I talk about on my channel, I wish someone sat me down and had that chat with me early on. But it's like you got to go through your own journey, your own path, and so nothing really jumped out at me as a crucial mistake because I always have the best interests of the band. I can truthfully say that.
No, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So sort of last question. Do you use any specific tools or apps that help manage your business?
I mean, I use all the stuff, like I have a daily planner. Like I said, we're using Google, we're using all that. And it's interesting. I was listening to the guests on your last podcast episode, and they were talking about they had like an admin person. What was her name? Like Anne or something? I forget. And they were talking about how helpful that's been. And we've been in the process of actually growing our team. That's why they were talking about this. And I felt the same way. It's just like, it's tough growing a team, bringing someone into the world, you know, but for us, like it's been very helpful having our admin person. Her name's Rosemary. And it's just nice to know like someone has got our back. Like when we're doing gigs, you know, someone is kind of handling stuff. If we're at a gig and a contract needs to be signed, it's like, she's in the email, she's just making it happen. So she would be the best tool that we've added to the team for sure. She's really on the ball, and that's been huge. And I think, you know, more people should broaden the horizons. If there's only so much you can do, you know, without getting burnt out. And I've been there, you know, but that's been it. You know, no crazy tools. And I use ChatGPT a lot. Like we have a day of schedule. It's like I'm copying and pasting our day, like all the details of the gig. I throw it into ChatGPT. It knows exactly how we want it. The buffer time, add an extra buffer on top of the time distance to the venue. It puts it in a PDF. It renders it. We print it out. It gets forwarded to everyone. It's like game changer. In my opinion, if you're not using AI with your band, people are against it. I know it's crazy, but it's just like you are at a disadvantage if you aren't using it to some capacity to help you out. Yeah,
100%. So last question, because I noticed on some of your content as well that you did some book recommendations and books that like you've liked. So I'd love it if maybe you've read something recently or whatever. But yeah, any kind of top book recommendations that have helped you?
Yeah, I did a video on it. I told you about Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. That was great. They talk about real world situations they were in, either in Navy SEALs training or on the battlefield in Ramadi, Iraq, which was crazy. And they talk about how they had to own up to these problems. That was big, but a big one for me was Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. This is a big one because I've read it and listened to the audiobook a couple times now. And it's so crazy. It just, have you heard of that book?
I've not heard of it. No, I did. I saw it on your Instagram earlier, but no, I've not heard of it.
It's become like a classic book. It was very controversial when it was written, and it talks about the proverbial devil is all of the like negative things that people talk about to you, being like, I want to try something, and then someone's like, oh, like, don't you think this? Or like, when you know in your gut that it's like it might be the right thing, it's like, it's the proverbial devil is all of the negative thoughts that the outside world, the outside stimulus put into your head. And it's just like how to catch that and not let that affect you progressing and doing what you want to do. So that was a big one. And then the other one was the one by Tim Grover. What was it called? Relentless. And I talked about this in my thing, but that's a great one because he talks about working with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I'm not even a big basketball guy, but after reading this book, you realize like they were literally people are in the NBA are doing like the bare minimum, and it's still a lot, but these guys would get in like double the training, double the shooting, and they're just like, after a couple of years, they're miles beyond everyone. And it's like they have no excuses for anything. They put the weight of the team, the weight of the championship on their shoulders because they know that they're putting in the work and the other people aren't. So it's like, of course, get me the ball. I can do this. Like, and it talks about using your gut when you know something like the back of your hand. It's not, you don't even have to think, it's a gut reaction. The same way if someone threw a ball at your face, you'd go like this. It's like you didn't have time to think. It's internal. It's a gut reaction. And they talk about in this with basketball, but this extends to guitar, it extends to anything, that when you have practiced and you know things, it's internalized. You don't have to think about it. It's just something happens and you just like, where your hand goes on the fretboard. It doesn't require thinking. And that's been a really huge one for me, is that you got to put in that time to be great, to be unstoppable, as he says. And that extends to your business skills, your performance skills, just everything is being fully prepared and not being delusional that you think you're prepared.
Yeah. Great stuff, man. I'll definitely be checking those out. That brings us to an end, man. This has been super, super fun. I've really enjoyed it. And I thank you so much for taking the time to come on and chat with me.
Jack, I appreciate it. And once again, congrats on the podcast. It's really great. I'm going to be listening to it a lot more because I've been checking it out because you reached out and like some serious helpful tips there that I can definitely relate to. So congrats on that and cheers to many more.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. So, I will obviously link to social media and stuff in the episode description. But where do you want to send people if they wanted to check out more of your stuff?
Yeah, you can check out Johnny Fiacconi, Fiacconi on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook too. Yeah, so I'd love to connect. If you're a musician out there that is a band leader or you're just living that life of playing gigs, I'd love to connect with you. Drop me a line anytime.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, I highly recommend everyone go and give you a follow because there's some real good advice in there.
Thank you, Jack.
So there we go. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. I just want to say a massive thank you to Johnny for coming on and chatting to me. Make sure you go check him out on social media for a ton of great advice. Anyway, that's it for this one. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next week for episode 5.